We are not happy where we are today. Right? If not for COVID, we would be, a company which is at least 3 times the size of where we are today. We were practically forced to focus on education, on manufacturing, on hospitals, on all other sectors and build those out.
You might have also observed in the kind of food choices overall, right? Like, for example, now you have more vegan choices or health conscious choices. Has that changed the way you operate?
The journey of cafeterias, they previously used to be called canteens, right? From there, they have been now called cafeterias, and in future, they will be called food courts.
Despite these choices, do you still see that consumers might then still go on to say a Swiggy or a Zomato and choose something which is not that? Like, for example, back then, it was more limited to these choices.
But those are not something I can consume every day, right? Because an average order value in a Swiggy and a Zomato is over 300 rupees, whereas for us, it's 72 rupees. The beauty of AI is that it practically requires two things, right? One is a lot of rich data, right? And we are the only company in the world, right, which has data of over 60 crore. When you are catering to universities, so we manage 27 plus university campuses today, right? So there it's all students. It's their parents' money that they are spending, right? So the average order value is a little higher than corporate. So it's a whole new world. We are all learning by the day, right? But it's a tool that we feel, after the demonetization kind of impact, where digitization became a thing for all of us.
In your wide experience of being in the food tech space, what is that one thing which has no strict formula?
Every day, millions of Indians eat at work, in universities, in hospitals. But behind those lunch breaks is a massive, mostly invisible industry: institutional food service. Hungerbox is a digital cafeteria platform that manages food programs for corporate offices, campuses, hospitals, and manufacturing units. Think of it as the tech layer between the people eating, the chefs cooking, and the organizations running it. From digital ordering and payments to menu planning to even AI predicting what's for lunch tomorrow. And this isn't namesake AI. This is AI that forecasts how many portions to prepare so nothing goes to waste, that knows your lunch habits better than you do, and that quietly makes kitchens more profitable while making your mealtime smoother. It's the invisible tech running in the background of a very human daily ritual. Founded in 2016, Hungerbox grew to manage over 900 cafeterias across India. But in 2020, the pandemic shut down 96% of its business overnight. What followed was a complete rebuild, not once but twice, offering rare insight into how a company can lose almost everything and still reinvent itself in a way that changes its entire playbook. On this episode of Point Break, you'll hear my conversation with Hungerbox co-founder and CEO, Sandipan Mitra. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so hi Sandipan, thank you for taking the time to speak to us.
Pleasure.
Yeah, Sandipan, to begin with, can you tell me what is Hungerbox? How did this journey begin? And the whole ecosystem of food tech space.
So, Hungerbox is an institutional food tech company, right? And by institutional food tech, we mean that we help institutions, whether it's a corporate office, whether it's a university campus, whether it's a tech park, a food court, help them manage the entire food and beverage services through a technology platform, right? With a technology first approach that helps scalability, it helps accountability, it helps transparency, it helps those institutions manage the food and beverage program, which is so essential and so integral to the institution, manage that much better and a much more efficient way.
So how did this begin? Like how was the whole journey of Hungerbox from day one?
So, 2016 is when we started, right? And we were looking at all kinds of industries. And that's the era, if you remember, 2014, 15, 16, the era, everything, all industries went through a digital redo and digital, reincarnation, right? And the only industry we saw where there was zero technology adaptation, right? But an industry that needed that adaptation was the entire institutional food space, right? While a lot of things were happening around all other sectors, this was a sector that was left, and we felt that a technology disruption is, the need of the hour for the entire sector. And it's a huge sector, right? If you look at the number of fooding sessions you have, you would recall you have more food in your office, right? You have your breakfast, lunch, evening snack in your office, and less at home, right? So this entire industry needs a digital, relook and to be redone through a digital lens. And that's what we kind of saw as an opportunity and started in 2016. And over the last 9 years, we have been proved correct, right? Because we have been able to digitize and manage over 900 plus cafes in the country.
Got it. You say when you started in 2016, I think at that time even food delivery startups were not really big. I mean, it was just starting off. So do you think that has caused some form of disruption? How has things changed after that?
Correct. No, so incidentally, our previous startup was a company called Just Eat, which was into online food ordering. Right? So we were the company that pioneered online food ordering in India. Right? But we were a little ahead of our time. You are right. 2014, 15 are the years where smartphone, became something which is common and in the hands of every Indian, right? And that's when all these kind of services became popular. But by that time, we had sold our company, and we kind of missed the the entire disruption that happened during the 15, 16, 17 era. But then that's one part of the entire food industry, right? But yes, the most talked about, right? Maybe 20, 30% of the industry, but gets 90% of the limelight. Whereas the rest of the food industry, right? We are talking about 1.3 billion people consuming food thrice a day, right? So it's a huge industry in our country, but the other sectors don't get the kind of limelight that the online food ordering industry got, right? Whereas there is huge scope and opportunities there, right? And institutional food is one such opportunity that we identified. It's not a game of a lot of capital. It's a game of being close to your customer and solving your customers' requirements and building a company with that. It takes time, takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of hard work, but the stickiness you generate and the ability to build very fundamentally strong organization is something that is second to none in this sphere.
Right. So like you said, if patience is required, I mean, how has Hungerbox kind of stuck onto it? Because like you said, it's also a very competitive space now with a lot of changes happening, consumer behaviors, food tech. So how that's like pretty much like a business conundrum, I would say. So how have you been navigating that?
So for us, uh, you know, uh, we have had to build the company twice, right? And we are one of those very rare companies which we have had to build twice in 9 years. So there is the pre and post COVID era.
Yes.
So 2016 to 2020, we were a company with very different dynamics. We were chasing sales, scale, size, volume, what we call GFE in our business, the gross food value that we are processing. So these were the metrics we were chasing in the first half of our company. And then COVID happened, and we were perhaps the most severely hit company because 90% of our business would come from corporate food, and people didn't go to offices. So 96% business went missing in a matter of months. And we had to practically rebuild the company from 22 onwards, which was very tough. But then, this time around, the matrix that we were chasing were unit economics, cafe profitability, EBITDA, etc., which are the right metrics. And thankfully, all the mistakes we made in the first version, we were able to correct and focus on the right numbers. And this time around, we are a much more stronger company that has emerged out of COVID. right? Where practically we were written off by the industry, right? It kind of strengthened the character in the team and our ability to focus and deliver, what we have envisioned, right? And today we are at the, best junction of our, company's journey.
Yeah. So, I mean, even my question was on during the COVID time. So, how has it? I'm sure it's not just disrupted yours. The whole food tech industry has changed. So, what is that pattern or something that has drastically changed post COVID? Say in running the business or looking at your customers.
So number one is, before this we had seen geographic disruptions, right? Or maybe a Karnataka band and all that. So we geographically diversified. We are present in 45 cities in the country. But, pre-COVID, we never knew that something of this sort can happen and an entire industry can go missing, right? So during COVID, we kind of realized that we cannot be, fully dependent on just the corporate segment, and that we need to diversify and open up all the other segments. And hence, we were practically forced to focus on education, on manufacturing, on hospitals, on all other sectors, and build those out. Right? Wouldn't have happened if the COVID push wouldn't have happened. And thankfully today these sectors contribute already 30% of our business, whereas corporate is 70%. And over the next 2 years, it will be a 50-50% ratio. So we have diversified sectorially, and that's something I would thank COVID for.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're just too comfortable doing corporate. The second piece is, the value of real money and the value of, sound unit economics and growing the company, looking at the right metrics for growing the company. I think that's something that, rather than chasing vanity metrics like, what's the number of cafes you have, what's the, GFE that you're processing and all that, we started looking at cafe profitability, unit economics. Is every order, we process about 1.5 crore orders a month, right? Does every order make me money today, right? So those metrics were something that we started tracking. And thankfully, we kind of, over the last 2 years, we have been a fully, PAT positive company. And that also is something that we owe to COVID. If not for COVID, we probably still would be a company that was burning money, right? So these are the two big contributions COVID would have had in our company's journey.
Got it. So like you said, even now 70% is your tech company, corporate suite. Now that you've entered different industries as well, do you see a difference in, say, the customer behavior, the patterns? Like, say, when you're catering to tech companies versus, say, universities and hospitals, do you see any kind of changes, or it's pretty much the same?
No, very, very, very different, right? So when you are catering to universities, so we manage 27 plus university campuses today, right? So there it's all students, right? And it's their parents' money that they are spending, right? So the average order value is a little higher than corporate, right? So yeah, but understanding their challenges, understanding a student's food workflow, etc., where they have limited time frame in which they have to come to the cafeteria, consume food, and get back to their classes, etc. So each use case, right? When we do hospitals, there is inpatient dining, outpatient dining. Their food requirements and their what they are aspiring for in the entire food journey is very different. So every sector, although the food and beverage service remains the same, but the way it is conceived and the way people kind of prioritize that piece are very different, and it's a great learning experience for us, right? In a cafeteria, I can maybe splurge some time and sit and have a coffee, whereas in manufacturing, it's a fight against time, so you're trying to have it much faster. So there, your throughput becomes more critical and all that. So great learnings from every sector, and it's been a great learning journey for us.
Is there any sector that you've not yet entered, but probably in the future you would love to explore?
Yeah, and lots of sectors, right? But we have taken a conscious call to stick to these 5 sectors, right? We believe that covers a huge opportunity sector, right? Just to give you some numbers, we have about 3 lakh active cafeterias in the country in these 5 sectors, right? Out of which 1.5 lakh are serviceable today. Right? By serviceable, I mean have the kind of GFE that helps us manage that cafeteria with good unit economics. And today we manage 900 cafes. So from this 900 cafe journey, we have to take it to a potential 1.5 lakh cafes in the country in these 5 sectors that we are currently operating. So yes, huge headroom and a lot of execution that's something that we need to do.
Got it. Just coming back to the consumer pattern, an interesting way. So, like you said, how students' consumer patterns are different. You might have also observed in the kind of food choices overall, right? Like, for example, now you have more vegan choices or health conscious choices. Has that changed the way you operate? Like, how different has that been?
Right. No, so lot of learnings, right? And that's the beauty of being in this industry. We get to see what corporate India is practically consuming as food. And one of the trends we have seen over the last close to a decade of our operations is that if you would look at the journey of cafeterias, they previously used to be called canteens, right? From there they have been now called cafeterias, and in future they will be called food courts, right? Because of the fact that people want choice and variety, right? And given the demography of our country, food tastes keep changing. So the only way to solve for it is have a lot of choice and variety in your office cafeteria. Right? The other piece we are seeing is people moving from having a meal, right? Because previously we used to think that it's all about consuming a 11-course meal, but people have come out of that, right? And short eats are what is the focus, right? A small combo, sandwich and a juice, those kind of food items are becoming more focused, and a full meal is less than 30% of our food consumption today, right? And this is something that we have seen over a 10-year period, right? And also health food, right? We would struggle to have a healthy food counter and for it to kind of break even, right? Because there would be 2, 3, 5% people consuming food there. But given the focus of health and hygiene and what am I consuming kind of focus that consumers have, we are seeing that becoming 10, 12, even in cafes 14% of the total food consumption being these health food items. So that's a category that has grown very sharply post COVID. So these are the trends that we keep seeing and keep addressing with the entire supply network of us. So we have 960 food partners, right, with whom we partner across pan India to address the demand of our consumers. So that kind of keeps changing every 6 to 12 months, right? And the idea is for us to stay ahead of the curve.
Got it. So, despite these choices, do you still see that consumers might then still go on to say a Swiggy or a Zomato and choose something which is not that? Like, for example, back then it was more limited to these choices, so I'll buy from them. But now, despite this, I still have more choices outside. So, is that something like a concern that you see, or that's just more?
No. So thankfully for us in office, when I'm in office, 7 out of 10 employees come to the cafeteria to consume food. Right, that's my national average. The 3 who don't have practically 3 choices. Number 1, as you rightly mentioned, the Swiggy and Zomato, right? But those are not something I can consume every day, right? Because an average order value in a Swiggy and a Zomato is over 300 rupees, whereas for us it's 72 rupees, right? So that's the kind of disparity. It's not percentage, it's multi-x, right? So people cannot afford online food order every day, right? It can be a thing you splurge over the weekend, but daily food consumption, the economics doesn't work. The other option is for you to get your tiffin from home, right? Which is again reheating it and all that kind of diminishes the taste every hour, right? So if I'm able to give you hot homely food served in the cafeteria, you will always prefer that rather than carrying food from homes. The third one is employees going out and consuming food in outside food stalls and all that. where there is no hygiene checks and anything and everything kind of sells, right? And given the number of instances of people finding out of what's the kind of shortcuts people take to make this street food, that's something that organizations and us, we feel that it's better off that the employee consumes food in the cafe, saving time, having more hygienic food. We know what they are consuming, we're in control of it. Right? So all these pieces, so we are competing with these three options, but thankfully we are 70% aspire to take it to about 90% of food consumption in cafes.
Got it. So just now switching gears, Sandipan, like let's talk about the tech aspect of it, what goes into Hungerbox. I just want to first understand like how much of AI is implemented at your when you're at an operational scale.
So we have been at it since about couple of years, right? And the beauty of AI is that it practically requires two things, right? One is a lot of rich data, right? And we are the only company in the world, right, which has data of over 60 crore, processed food orders, right, which helps us understand what the consumer is consuming and all that. And like that, institutional food consumption data, we have the richest data anywhere in the world, right? So that's one raw material. The other raw material that goes into AI is a lot of decision making skills, right? And our close to a decade experience of managing 900 plus cafes, and these are the most iconic cafes, the largest organizations in the country, and all that. That gives us the ability to understand the market, understand the trends, and input the right decision making ability. So combination of right decision making with the kind of rich data that we have, we are able to churn out AI tools, and obviously all the LLMs and everything that's coming around, right? Makes a lethal combination that we are able to service our clients more powerfully than we have ever have been in the past, right? So for us, AI is very, very, very core to our organization's future, right? And I can give you examples of how we are going stakeholder wise, right? What my end user wants, what my staff at the cafeteria wants, what's the administrator who is the owner of the premises, what does he want to see, what my food partners want to see. For example, for my food partners, the biggest challenge is to solve for wastage, right? How much should he prepare today, right? I'm been able to predict that and give him that data better than any time before. That helps him save on wastage, right? And every 1% of food wastage that I'm able to save improves his PNL, multifold, right? So such serious challenges of our industries we are able to solve for the first time through the use of AI. For the end user, it's ki kya khana hai, right? Every day, the challenge is what do I eat in the cafe, right? So our ability to suggest him depending on the trend in the cafe right now, what's selling, what people are liking, what people are reviewing, plus his previous order history, combining all that and giving him a real-time input as to, this is what you will enjoy today, right? With a very high level of confidence, right? I can give you a untim number of examples of, applications of all this in real life. And this is, we have a series of launches from now over the next 12, 18 months, right? Where we are kind of adapting, AI tools, right? Improve efficiency, make stakeholder accesses better, etc. So plethora of such services, being rolled out.
Mhm. Are there any tools you can talk about, or these are more of, say, you're building it in house? Anything that you could talk about?
I can talk about multiple examples, right? But I'll give you one short example, right? So our team, previously, the industry, we would have sheets where you fill in what is called a checklist of activities, right? And our industry, filling the checklist and adherence to SLAs, SOPs is very, very, very critical in our industry. Right? If you don't, then it's very risky, right? So we used to have paper sheets. So we came in and we brought in the digital sheets, right? That create evidences of everything: food arrival, food temperature, sensory tests before it's laid out and served. So create digital trail of all that, right? But that was a lot of human effort and human intervention that it needed. But today, with all these AI tools, you just take a nice video of the entire place, and practically it autofills 90% of things that you would have to manually then fill, right? So increases the efficiency of our staff at the premises without compromising on the quality of the output, right? We still are able to capture more accurate data at the cafeteria premises, but rather than the human entering it, it's now the AI tool doing that, right? So increases efficiency of our staff and accuracy and all that. So like that, multiple examples of how these tools are getting implemented for real life outcomes, right? We don't want to do it for cosmetic purposes. It's all, if we are not able to address the real fundamental challenges of our industry, then we don't want to do it, right? That's the threshold we work with.
Correct. So again, just going back to that. So AI tools that you mentioned, these are existing ones or in-house you're building it?
So for us, it's all, in-house first approach, right? Because we don't want to be dependent on third-party tools as much as possible, right? So everything is evaluated, carefully calibrated. Data is very, very, very sensitive in our part of the world, right? Because this is very sensitive data which is getting captured on a daily basis, and we need to ensure that it's 100% secure. So keeping all those points in mind, right, whatever is the right tool and the right pieces, right? We do that, right? But 99% of whatever we do is all built in house, so that we are in control, right? We are real time system, so any disruption in it kind of impacts the end user very badly, right? So we understand, take responsibility of that, and ensure that if we are able to build it in house, we are in full control of the outcomes, right? So that's the approach we take. But then obviously there are some pieces best done through third party tools. So there we kind of use them.
Got it. And what still remains a challenge for Hungerbox?
um, you know, we are not happy where we are today, right? If not for COVID, we would be, a company which is at least 3 times the size of where we are today, right? Because we lost a lot of good time during the COVID period. But then, we are, growing 60% CAGR over the last 4 years, right? To catch up and make up for the lost time, right? And our industry needs a player like us, to kind of streamline and kind of, build this out, right? But it's the speed at which you get there is critical, right? We want to get to the threshold of 2,000, 2,500 cafeterias, want to get there fast, right? So we are doing everything in our capacity to ensure that our speed of acquisition kind of is much more robust this year than what it has been in previous years.
Right. And do you see any challenges in, say, the implementation of these AI tools? I mean, you want to use it for many things, but there's always something that's not working.
No, so it's all about disclaimers, right? What we understand is that if the data is incorrect, it has consequences. So rather than giving a binary outcome, we kind of attach a confidence score, right? That we are confident that this has a 96, 97, 98, 99% accuracy level, right? And attaching and publishing that confidence score of this tool is very critical, because nothing is in a perfect shape today. It's all work in progress, right? We are all learning these tools, implementing it, seeing the impact of it. So as much pressure we have to kind of launch these features very, very, very fast and in an aggressive manner, we are very cognizant that we shouldn't go overboard, and ensure that thorough, QA processes are followed before any of these tools kind of get there. And also enriching the data, right? Because AI tools, the input is good quality data. So if your data is corrupt in a way, you will get a lot of misinformation coming out, right? So ensuring that all that sanctity is taken care and all that. So it's a whole new world. We are all learning by the day, right? But it's a tool that we feel after the demonetization kind of impact, where digitization became a thing for all of us, right? AI is the next wave, which kind of will benefit us, multifold, right? And very excited to see how this kind of changes the landscape of our industry.
Got it. Just one last question. In your wide experience of being in the food tech space, what is that one thing which has no strict formula you have seen across the industry?
No strict formula.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like wherein you can't like predict or plan that.
no, so I could give you a list pre-COVID, right? Because for us also, people kept asking what can go wrong with Hungerbox, and we would say maybe a server outage, maybe payment gateway is not working, etc. Such things, right? But we never knew that something like pandemic existed, right? But then it's in our lifetime that we got to experience something that we didn't know a month back, and then it comes and kind of finishes your business in matter of days, right? So that creates a lot of humbleness, right? That you need to be aware of all the kind of risks that are potentially disruptive of your organization, right? And kind of build moats and build fortresses around kind of protecting your business from all spaces, right? So that's been a great humbling experience for us. We don't take anything for granted. We keep looking at what could be the next big disruption and ensure that we are ahead of it. We are a company born out of disruption, right? Because we brought in the digital cafeteria concept. Nowhere else in the world, forget India, nowhere else in the world you have a digital cafeteria concept of this sort, right? So this is a novel development out of India, right? There are cafes all over the world, but nobody thought of running them digitally till the time we came. Right? So it's a novel idea born out of disruption. So company born out of disruption, if it does not keep riding the disruption wave, will get wiped off in the next disruption, right? So we have to be ahead of the wave and ahead of the curve in terms of looking at the next disruption and being at the forefront of it, right? And AI is a classic example of the next disruption, right? So if you're not ahead of the curve, it'll be just too late, right? And matter of months, your entire industry will be kind of rewritten through the AI lens.
Got it. All right. Great. Thank you so much, Sandipan, for this. It's truly been insightful.
Thank you.
From losing 96% of its business to running 900 digital cafeterias again, Hungerbox's journey shows that sometimes the biggest tech stories aren't about going faster, they're about coming back smarter. And in this case, it's also a story of how AI can quietly shape what ends up on your plate without you even noticing. That's all we have on this episode of Point Break. I'll be back with more such interesting founder stories shaping India's digital ecosystem. Until then, stay sharp, stay curious, and think AI, think AIM.